This episode of the Topcast is proudly supported by the ABRSM. You're listening to the Topcast, the original podcast for growth-minded instrumental music and voice teachers since 2015, with your host, Tim Topham. Our mission at Top Music is to empower instrumental music and voice teachers to find and nurture their innate creativity so that they can teach lessons that are innovative, integrated, and inspiring, and that will have a positive lifelong impact on their students. Join us each week as we interview teachers and creators from around the world and unpack fun and exciting ideas to maximize your teaching and studio business success. Welcome back to the Topcast, everybody. This is Tim Topham, your host for the show, and it's great to be hanging out with you again. Thank you so much for joining me. This is the place to be if you're an instrumental or voice music teacher from anywhere around the world, working away in your home studio or a leased commercial location. This is the place where you get to hang out and find out a little bit more about your industry and ideas and strategies around both your teaching and your business. Thank you so much for tuning in, whether you are a new listener, welcome, or a veteran listener, welcome back as well. It's great to be spending time with you, and thank you so much for your support of the show. It's wonderful to receive emails and reviews about the show and what you pick up from it and the great takeaways that you have. So I do encourage you to leave a review on iTunes if you are able to. That'd be fantastic. Or on Facebook, wherever you tend to hang out. It's always great to read those and see just how much of an impact this show has had on your teaching and your studio. So I started this podcast in 2015. So next year we'll actually be celebrating 10 years, which is kind of crazy. And I have to say that over the years I've interviewed quite a number of presidents of the MTNA, the Music Teachers National Association. That's the biggest organisation for music teachers in America. So I have interviewed Martha Hilly, who also came over to my event in 2020, which was super cool. Absolutely love Martha. She might be listening. Hello, Martha, if you are. I interviewed Peter Mack more recently as well. And today, we actually get to hang out with the CEO of MTNA, Brian Shepard, and I haven't actually interviewed a CEO from MTNA. Today, we're going to find out what Brian's vision is for the organisation, as he's literally just taken over in July this year, and also find out what they offer and how you might like to get involved. I'm a member, have been a member for many years, even though I'm on the other side of the world, and I absolutely love being a part of this organisation. Now, just while I think about it, we did record this interview a few weeks back, and one of the things that we'll be talking about in today's show is a new online conference that they're creating called Tempo. He does mention towards the end that there was a cutoff for proposals. That's actually passed now when you're listening to this. I'm sorry about that, but hopefully you'll be able to join in if you'd like to submit a proposal for a future event, either their in-person events, which happen around March every year, or a future Tempo event. My guest today, Brian Shepard, is Chief Executive Officer of the Music Teachers National Association. Brian first began his career at MTNA in 2003 as the Director of Marketing and Public Relations. In addition to his work at MTNA, Brian volunteers on several other non-profit boards and committees. From 2009 to the present, Brian has served in multiple leadership roles with the American Classical Music Hall of Fame. He currently serves the Hall of Fame as Board President. Brian is also an accomplished musician who performs frequently for church and community programs as a pianist, vocal soloist, and choral conductor. A graduate of Miami University of Ohio, Brian holds degrees in marketing and music education. He was named an MTNA Foundation Fellow in 2010. Welcome to the show, Brian Shepard. So great to connect with you again.
Good to connect with you too. Thanks for having me.
So before we talk about MTNA and your role there, only a few people probably know about your musical background. So I'm really keen to unpack that just a tiny little bit to give all the members around the world and other people who are interested, what instrument did you learn? And can you tell us a bit about your journey as a student?
Sure. I studied violin when I was in elementary school for a very few short years, and then decided that was not for me. But my parents insisted that I had to take some sort of instrument or be involved in some sort of musical activity. So at the end of elementary school, I started taking piano lessons. I was very fortunate to grow up in a home where music was very valued, and actually everybody in my family, including both of my parents as adults, studied piano. So I had a very nurturing environment to study piano. And then as I got to high school, I also started taking voice lessons as well. And then that continued on in college. And at the college level, I studied piano and voice, and then got a degree in music education, as well as one in marketing and minor in arts administration. So the transition to MTNA after college was a very natural one.
Yeah. Did you work? So between sort of finishing those degrees and starting at MTNA, because I know that you've been there for some time, was there a whole lot of different other roles there, or was it quite quickly that you joined MTNA?
It was pretty quickly. It was about a year after I graduated from college that I started at MTNA. And during that gap year, if you will, I actually literally worked at the Gap, the retail store. So that was that I was an assistant manager there for about a year before I started at MTNA.
Okay. And when you started at MTNA, what was your role there?
I was the director of marketing and public relations when I first started at MTNA.
Got it. Okay. And that makes a lot of sense, given the degree that you just finished studying.
Mm-hmm.
So do you get to perform much these days on either actually, do you still play violin?
I do not. I do not. That went by the wayside when I started piano.
So do you still get to do piano and voice performing?
I do. Mostly casual things now, community concerts, retirement homes, and, some casual programs like that are mostly what I do. My partner, Davis, is a piano teacher and also the piano editor at Alfred. So we do a lot of piano duets together. In fact, we had originally anticipated doing a formal recital this past summer, but with both of us starting new jobs, it just wasn't in the cards for this year. So hopefully next year we will do a formal, legitimate recital together. So we're looking forward to that. And we've already got some tentative ideas about some repertoire to do. So we're excited about that.
Well, I know how hard Davis has been working because we've been working to help him with his promotions of his new books. As all the listeners will know, Alfred has been sponsoring recently and we've been sharing information about their collections. So Davis has been doing an incredible job. And now we know the name behind the person who's working on all that stuff. So, and the connection to you as well, which is really, really cool. Just give us a quick sneak peek. If you were to do this it's a two piano recital.
It's going to be piano and voice both. Yep. So, we'll do. He'll accompany me on a few pieces, and yeah.
Any repertoire that you're thinking of?
So we are actually looking at involving one of our colleagues who lives here as well. Her name is Janet Scott, and we are hoping to do actually piano six-hand arrangements of some Rachmaninoff waltzes. So that's going to be one of the things that we're working toward. Davis is also working on an arrangement of a fabulous 80s sitcom theme song that I'm not going to share just yet, but we're hoping to feature that on the concert. And then I will probably do some English art songs, probably some Vaughan Williams, and then hopefully a Fauré piece or two from vocal repertoire. So it should be a very wide variety in the programming. So I think it'll be a lot of fun for the audience, and it'll be a lot of fun for us to put together too.
Well, look, I think most listeners certainly those in the USA will know about the MTNA, which you are CEO of. But for those internationally, what is it and what's its main purpose?
Sure. Well, MTNA has been around since 1876. So in 2026 will be our 150th anniversary. And since the beginning, we've really been focused on kind of a two-part mission. We really want to make sure that the public is aware of the importance of music study and music making and all the benefits that go along with that. And then we really want to support the careers of studio music teachers, making sure that they can thrive as professionals and that they're equipped to train future music makers. So essentially, we can ensure that the world always has people who love and appreciate music and an additional generations of music teachers to continue that, sharing that joy and that journey.
It's great to hear about that two-sided. I hadn't really thought so much about the first one that you mentioned, which was more of that outreach and just making sure that music is something that we all do and continue to do. Because I don't know, I think it's the same in America, particularly in elementary schools. Fewer and fewer music teachers are being employed. Music's being cut from curricula. Are you seeing the same thing over there?
Yes, unfortunately, we are. It's kind of one of the first things to go when school system budgets get cut. The school music programs are in the first on the chopping block. So, I think MTNA really has a responsibility to be advocates for not only music making in the schools, but also outreach to make sure that our teachers who are teaching in private studios across the country can also provide music to students who don't have access to it elsewhere.
Now, I know that states as well have their own music teacher associations. So how do they all work together? Because like in California, I've spoken at MTAC, and then there's MTNA, and then there's CAP-MT. How does it all work?
It definitely can get very confusing. MTNA is, of course, the national organization in the United States. And then each of the states has a state affiliate that is affiliated with MTNA. They offer programming at the state level in addition to our national programming. And people who join MTNA also join at the state level. And then to make things a little bit more confusing, we also have about 500 local associations around the country. So there's additional programming there as well that members have the option to join.
Are they also affiliated?
Yes, they're all affiliated as well. And then California is a little unusual because there are actually two large state organizations there. And the California Association of Professional Music Teachers is the one that's associated with MTNA. But many members are also members of MTAC because their programs really complement the things that Catmount is doing as well. So there's a lot of crossover in membership there. But they are the only state that has a really, really strong state-only organization in the country for studio music teachers.
I'm glad it's not just me then that's somewhat confused.
No, it's definitely confusing. Even to people who've been members for a long time who still don't understand the full breadth of the organization.
So one of the biggest things that the national body does, of course, is the annual conference. And I was delighted to have been able to be a part of it this year. But I understand that that's only one sort of many events that are hosted during the year. So can you just tell us about the other events that happen?
Sure. Well, all of our state affiliates have programming at the state level as well. So oftentimes there'll be an annual state conference. Typically, those are either in the fall or June of each year. There are also lots of student competitions and festivals that happen at the local, state, and national levels. And then the local associations typically will have at least a monthly meeting. So there's educational programming that happens at the local level pretty much every month in most areas of the country. From a national perspective, this year, in addition to the MTNA National Conference in Minneapolis, we are incredibly excited to also be offering an all-virtual conference called Tempo.
I meant to ask you about this. I saw the promotions, the little teasers you put out. So you've got to tell us about this too.
Yeah, so we are really excited. MTNA is really focusing on creating access for teachers to our educational programming, access for students for music lessons. But this really helps fulfill our mission for teachers. The Tempo Conference, it actually stands for Teaching, Education, Music, and Pedagogy Online, so Tempo. And it will be April 25th through 26th. It will be all virtual, and it will also be totally separate programming from the 25 conference in Minneapolis. So it gives an opportunity for additional people to present. It eliminates the the issues of travel and the cost of travel, or perhaps even the cost of a full conference registration in person. So we're really excited to bring this educational event to hopefully a very new and different audience who hasn't been able to attend some of our in-person events in the past.
The Associated Board and the Royal Schools of Music has released its new piano syllabuses for 2025 and 2026. For practical and performance grades from initial grade through to grade 8, students will love the wide choice of repertoire. It includes familiar favourites, core classics and new commissions, as well as chart-topping pieces from pop, stage and screen. With professional audio recordings available to stream from music platforms such as Apple Music, Amazon and Spotify, it's now easier than ever to explore and choose exam pieces. Books for all grades, each featuring 9 selected pieces, are now available from all good music retailers, and students can use the new syllabus in exams from the 1st of January 2025. Explore the inspirational new repertoire and find out more at abrsm.org.uk/piano. Wow. Tonya, who organises the main event, she must be very busy at the moment.
Oh, she is. She is.
Big hugs for you, Tonya, great. If you're listening. She's amazing. Right. I was just thinking, really appreciate that providing an online version of the conference, or sorry, not a version of, an online conference is a great way to reach more teachers. And hopefully by talking about it on this podcast, we can share it outside of the USA as well, which I think is definitely what you would like to do, is spread it. Let's get everyone around the world to join in. How do you feel that's going to affect the numbers for your in-person conferences, do you think? Or is it a different kind of market, do you feel?
I think it's kind of a different kind of market. We have, some diehard members that are going to go to everything that we do. And that's a large majority of the in-person conference attendees. We also draw a lot regionally, people who can drive to the conference or, are not too far away. That typically will attract a certain amount. When during the pandemic, when we had all virtual conferences, we went from having, a couple hundred, 200 or so first-time attendees to the conference to having about 700 or 800 first-time attendees for the virtual event. So I think there is a definite interest in virtual registrations, virtual educational opportunities. And I think it's separate from the interest in the in-person education as well. So we feel that these will be complementary. And also for everyone who attends the in-person conference, they will get a complimentary registration to the virtual conference in April. And then we'll also have just separate tempo-only pricing as well for those who just want to attend virtually.
Fantastic. Oh, I really look forward to helping you share the word about that. And we'll talk just at the end, and you can give us some links and we can share those as well. Now, so we mentioned before, you've been involved in MTNA for quite a few years. How many years, in fact?
It was 21 years in June this year.
21 years. And you have just stepped up into the role of CEO. So huge congratulations. I was very excited to hear that. How's it been going so far?
It has been delightful whirlwind, I think is probably the best way to describe it. It has been a thrill and an honor to have been promoted to this role. And the board, the members, the staff, everyone has been so supportive. And it's been such an exciting time to come together and to be strategizing for the future and to, take a look at what we need to do to make sure that this 150-year-old organization remains relevant and a wonderful support system for the music teaching profession. And, everyone is very excited about the future. And I'm just incredibly honored to be in this role.
Well, I'm going to push you a little bit further, Brian. I'm really keen to know, have you sort of thought about what your vision is for the organisation and some changes and developments you'd like to see in the next few years?
Sure. As I've been looking into the future, I've really kind of identified 4 key areas in my mind that I think we really need to focus on. The first of these is community. I'm huge on community development and relationship development and just making sure that MTNA is welcoming to all people of all backgrounds. We're predominantly pianists, but we would love to be a home for people of other instruments. We have a very small population currently of string and voice and woodwind and brass teachers. So we would definitely like to increase that. And we want people of all backgrounds to feel welcome. We want people of all educational levels. MTNA is all about taking teachers from where they are to the next level. And it doesn't matter if they're beginners. It doesn't matter if they've been teaching for 30 or 40 years. We want to be the organization that offers them that support and community. Studio music teaching is often incredibly lonely. And so I think MTNA, through its 500 local associations and through its newer online programming, really has the opportunity to create a worldwide community of teachers that are all working together to advance the value of music study and music making. The next area that I see having a lot of area of opportunity for us are our programs. One of the things that I really want to ensure is that we have cutting edge programming, that we're not doing just what we've done for 150 years, and that we're really mixing it up and trying to ensure that we're providing the tools and resources that teachers need in the 21st century to thrive as small businesses and as educators. The third area is access. We want to make sure that MTNA is accessible to people of all means, all backgrounds, all education levels. And so that's why I'm really, really excited about the Tempo conference, because there are so many financial and physical barriers to attending a large national conference. So we want to continue to make our programs accessible for teachers. We're also doing a deep dive. We've formed a task force to take a look at our membership models to make sure that those, as they are now, are serving our members. This model is like decades old, so it's time to take a fresh look at all those things. So at the last September board meeting, our board just formed a task force to take a look at that. And then the fourth area is infrastructure. We definitely need to improve our technology and our operational procedures to make MTNA more nimble and getting programs from the idea to fruition. Or we've got to be a little bit faster getting to market on some of the things that we're doing. And then we also just need to have a better technological platform. So I'm happy to say that we are in the process of moving to a new membership database as well as a website. So all of those things are on the horizon. But I see those four areas as being a great area of opportunity for us to move forward in the future.
And all quite interlinked in many ways too, which I think makes a lot of sense. And I can certainly see how a lot of those things, there has been, I've only been involved for probably 10 years or so in a very small way, attending the conferences and getting emails and things. And I've already seen some shifts towards more technology, more looking at business and some of those things. So I think that's great. And thank you very much for sharing that with us. I wondered just on the instruments as well, because we do know that, yes, most of the members are piano teachers. And we know that there are probably more piano teachers than any other instrument, I think. Probably closely followed by guitar maybe, and then voice, I'm not really sure. But the thing I notice about the conferences is you have these massive, like the competition side of the conferences are enormous. And I assume aren't all piano. There's bands and there's trombone and flute and all that. So I'm wondering if there's a way to somehow link with all those, because all those people are being taught by teachers, and perhaps some of them aren't members. Is there a connection there that's being missed somehow? I'm just not sure.
Yeah, I think there's a huge area to expand our audience with the competitions. We offer composition competitions, and we also offer brass, woodwind, string, and voice competition areas. So there's quite a bit of room for growth in those areas. The other things that I think is an opportunity for us too is to really emphasize the business resources that we provide our members and those things because there's an association for voice teachers, there's an association for string teachers, and I think there's an opportunity where they're focusing very much on kind of the depth of voice study for string study. I think MTNA can offer some business resources that help their teachers who maybe aren't teaching at a school or a university and might have a few students independently. So I think the competitions and our business resources are our best options to offer value to members outside of the piano realm. We're always going to be a piano depth organization, but I think we can expand our breadth to some collaborative performance opportunities, the competitions, and the business resources.
Makes a lot of sense. And I noticed on social media there were these images about a summit that you were running in September. And I wondered if that was something new that you had introduced or that was a regular part of what you guys did.
The Summit for MTNA Leadership is actually an annual event that has been going on since the late 90s, actually. I think it was like 1998 or 1999 was the first one. And this year we did a little bit different format with it, but it's an exciting event that takes place here in Cincinnati, Ohio, which is the headquarters for MTNA are located here. And we invite all of our state presidents and our national board of directors and other national leaders, as well as all of the national staff, all to come together here in Cincinnati for a weekend of education and training, inspiration. This year, we really brainstormed and talked about the future, which we typically haven't done. It's typically been, all about the MTNA programs and things like that. But we really had an opportunity to look into the future and to talk about that together as we really get strategic about what the future of MTNA can and should look like. And then there's a meeting of the states by size. So each of our state affiliates are divided, if they have 50 members or if they have 2,000 members, they're grouped together. And that's the most popular session of the summit because they can talk about the things that are going on in their state affiliate with people who are experiencing similar challenges and opportunities. So it's just a great time to exchange information and to know that you're not going it alone as a volunteer leader in MTNA, and that there's support from your colleagues as well as from the national headquarters.
And I think I'm right in believing that anyone can put their hand up for roles at MTN. As long as you're a member, you can put your hand up for both national roles and state roles. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct. We're always looking for volunteers at the local, state, and national level. So, if anyone's out there and is interested, reach out. Try to match people up with their interests. People who are interested in competitions, we get them involved with monitoring or judging or any of those types of things. And some people are interested in the foundation, or some people are interested in our certification program. So we try to get everyone lined up with what best aligns with what they want to do.
Lots of opportunity, and that builds community as well.
Absolutely.
So tell us about Minneapolis. Minneapolis, I think, is next year, 2025. Is that right?
Yes, that is the next in-person conference. It is March 15th through 19th in Minneapolis, Minnesota, as you said. And we're really excited about the program. Composer Libby Larson is going to be our keynote speaker this year. And then we will have evening concerts. The Tuesday evening recital is by Michelle Kahn. And she's a fabulous pianist and active, performing across the country with symphonies, and also the new artistic advisor for the formerly American Pianist Association. They just changed their name to American Pianist Awards. So she's keeping very active. And then Saturday night is kind of exciting because it's sort of a mystery, because we are featuring the winner of the National Chopin competition, and that competition isn't until January. So we won't know until January who the winner actually is, but they will be doing the Saturday evening recital. We've also got master classes and the exhibit hall and the finals of our competitions that we talked about a little bit ago, in brass, woodwind, string, voice, and piano and composition and chamber music as well. So we've got quite a bit going on at the conference. So hopefully many of your listeners and hopefully you'll be able to be there too.
I would love, well, as you know, I love coming over to the States, and that one I'm not sure I'll quite make it to, but I would love to. I would be there in a heartbeat if I was closer. And so registrations are open now, and where do people go?
Yes, registration is open now for both the Tempo conference and the Minneapolis conference, and you can go online to mtna.org.
Fantastic. Is the Tempo has the schedule been released for that, or speakers and things like that?
Actually, that is another area of opportunity for anyone who is interested in submitting a proposal for a breakout session. The Tempo conference we are accepting proposals right now until October 14th at 3 p.m. Eastern time. So all the information for the proposal submission process is on the website as well.
Fantastic. Great. Well, I encourage anyone that is able to attend any MTNA functions. They are just great fun. They're a great community. I mean, you're already doing lots of those things that you've talked about wanting to do better at. And so I am so thankful that I have great connections with so many of you and your members and the people that speak. And thank you for the opportunity to come to the conference and speak this year. It's been really, really great.
Oh, well, we really enjoyed having you. It was great to have you as our keynote this past year.
It was lots of fun. Well, thank you so much, Brian. Make sure you go check out the website. We'll put links to all of those things that you've mentioned in our show notes. And I'll see you at a conference really soon.
That sounds great. Thank you so much.
See you later.
Take care.
Well, it was great to be able to hang out and find out a little bit more about the CEO of MTNA, Brian Shepard, and I do encourage you to join up. Whether you're in America or not, if you're a passionate music teacher, then it's a great organisation to be a part of. You do get their fantastic magazine. They have both online and printed magazines, and also the opportunity to join a number of different conferences and workshops if you can get over to the United States, or, as we've just heard, join their new online conference, which is going to be coming out next year. Well, that's the end of our show for this week. Thanks again for joining me. Next week on the podcast, we are unveiling the new ABRSM 2025-26 syllabus and new books with one of their team members, Samantha Carrasco. Can't wait to be able to share that with you. Whether you are in the UK, where the ABRSM is based, or you're in another country where you do use exams, this could be a great one to find out, because this could be a great episode to tune into, because the ABRSM has made some significant changes actually this year to both the style of music and what they're offering and what needs to be done and how things are accessed. So make sure you tune in. I am Tim Topham and you've been listening to the Topcast. Thanks again for joining me, and I'll chat to you again next week. How do you keep up to date with all the latest trends and research into music education? How do you connect with other teachers around the world and make sure your teaching stays fresh and relevant for students of all ages and stages, both now and into the future? I created our Top Music Pro membership to be the one-stop shop for music teaching resources, training, support and community, and I'd love for you to come and join us inside. With over 40 comprehensive training courses, hundreds of teaching demonstrations and lesson plans, free monthly sheet music, discounts, and all the business and pedagogy support you could ever need, Top Music Pro is the community you've been looking for. If you're ready to level up your learning from the podcast and join thousands of other teachers in our global network, head over to topmusicpro.com today. If you enjoy this show and want to hear more of our work, be sure to subscribe to this podcast wherever you're listening today. For links and resources mentioned in this episode, visit us at topmusic.co/podcast or check out the show notes. I'm Tim Topham. Thank you so much for listening. Enjoy your week ahead, and I'll catch you next time.